For concept 4, we're going to look at multiplying again, different polynomials. Today we're going to look at multiplying a binomial with a binomial. And again, bi means 2. So these are going to be 2 by 2 multiplications. And we're going to focus on the box method. But before we dive into the box method, I want to show you the FOIL method. You may have heard it called FOIL before. And here's what FOIL stands for, okay? It basically stands for first, outside, inside, last. And this little mnemonic device or little phrase is just to help you remember how to distribute each part. And what you want to remember is that we're always distributing everything from one polynomial and we're multiplying by everything in the other polynomial. So when it's a 2 by 2 or a binomial times a binomial, the FOIL method works. Where first is just this is a first term and this is a first term because they're both the first thing in their parentheses. So we would do 2x times 5x. That would be first. Then outside would be the 2x is on the outside and the plus 7 is on the outside. So we would multiply 2x times plus 7. And if you notice, this is starting to look like distribution. We multiplied by the first thing and then the second thing. So 2x times positive 7. And we would do that. Then we would do the inside terms. And the inside terms are going to be this negative 8 and 5x because they're on the inside of this little cluster of numbers here. So we'd multiply those two things together, negative 8 times 5x, and then the last two terms, so negative 8 times positive 7. And again, what I want you to see here is that this is really just distribution. Distributing the 2x to everything, and then distributing the negative 8 to everything. And although it doesn't have a fancy name, if the polynomials were bigger, we would still distribute the first term to every other term. Distribute the second term to everything. Distribute the third term to everything, because that's really all that multiplication is when you're multiplying polynomials. So that is the FOIL method. If we went through and did all this multiplication, this would be 10x squared, and this would be 14x, and this would be negative 40x, and then negative 56. And so combine all those things together, I have two like terms here, 14x and negative 40x. So when I combine those two together, I would get negative, what is it, 26? 26x. So now to write my final answer, I would just start with my highest degree and work my way down. And there you have it. So there's the FOIL method, and you're welcome to use that method. If that works for you and that makes sense, go for it. But if that looks a little confusing, let's take a look at the box method. The box method we learned yesterday, and we're going to expand it today. And it's just 2 by 2. 2 terms by 2 terms. Binomial times a binomial. So let's take a look. Here I took this 2x minus 8 and set it up on the top. 5x plus 7 straight down the side. And it doesn't matter which side you put it on, you can put it on either one. So it's up to you. So 5 times 2, remember we multiply our coefficients and add our exponents. That's how we multiply polynomials. So 5 times 2 is positive 10, x times x is x squared. 5 times negative 8 is negative 40, x times nothing is just x. Positive 7 times positive 2 is positive 14, and then there's nothing to multiply by this x, so it just comes down. And then 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. Now, with the box method, when you are doing more than one row, you'll need to look for like terms. So I see here I have a like term, and here is a like term. So I'm going to combine those together. So again, breaking it out of the box, start with your highest degree and just work your way down. And to get this negative 26x, I just combined these two like terms, the 14x and the negative 40x. And there you have it. So let's take a look at a couple of our practice problems and see if we can't really zero in on this box method. So I'm going to make my box 2 by 2. And down one side of my box, I'm going to put one of my binomials, k plus 5. And then across the top, I'm going to put the other one, k minus 2. Now it's just a matter of multiplying each part by each part. So k times k is k squared. K times negative 2 is negative 2k. 5 times k is positive 5k, and 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Notice that we have two terms that are k terms. So those are our like terms. We're going to combine them. So I'm going to start with k squared, and then positive 5 and negative 2 gives me positive 3k. That's how many k's I have. And then minus 10. And I'm all set. Let's take a look at another one. 39. Here, I'm going to do my boxes and put one of these down one side, so 5x plus 8, and one of them across the other, 5x plus 6, and it doesn't matter where they go. 5 times 5 is 25. X times x is x squared. 5 times 6 is positive 30. X times nothing is x. 8 times 5 is positive 40. X times nothing is x. And 8 times 6 is positive 48. So now I'm going to, again, look for any like terms and combine them. So I get, 25k squared. That should be a 5. And combining these like terms, I'm going to get positive 70x and then plus 48. And I'm all set. Why don't you pause the video and try these next two on your own? I know you can get them. So here are the answers that you should have gotten for 41 and 43. How'd you do? Remember, if you didn't get what I got, that's okay. Just double check your work, see if you can figure out where your mistake was. And another thing you can try, if you did the multiplication using the box method but it didn't work out, maybe try the FOIL method. Same thing vice versa. If you did the FOIL method and it didn't work out, maybe try the box method, see if it goes easily for you. Let's try the last two together. So here we go. I'm going to make my box. N minus 7 goes down one side, and 5n minus 4 goes across the other. Now, there's a 1 here. Even though it's not written, I know that can be a coefficient of 1. So 1 times 5 is 5, n times n is n squared. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4, n times nothing is n. Negative 7 times 5 is negative 35, n times nothing is n. And negative 7 times negative 4 is positive, what is that, 28. My brain is trying to check out before I let it. So positive 28 is that last term. I'm going to combine an n term and an n term, and that gives me 5n squared. Negative 35 and negative 4 gives me negative 39n, and then plus 28. Another thing I want you to notice is all of your like terms will be in the diagonals. Okay? So be on the lookout for that. Check your diagonals. They're probably going to be like terms. Last but certainly not least, we have number 47. Making my box. 4b minus 2. 3b minus 4. 4 times 3 is 12. b times b is b squared. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. b times nothing is b. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And b times nothing is b. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. All right. Like terms on the diagonal, just as we would expect. 12b squared, negative 6 and negative 16 is going to give me negative 22b, and then plus 8. And we're all set. All right, hope you enjoy multiplying a binomial times a binomial. Why don't you go ahead and try the even problems on your own. Pick whichever method you like, try them both, whatever you want to do, it's up to you, and bring them to class ready to discuss.